Okay, today we'll be doing head gaskets on this. This is a 2012 Outback 2.5 liter single cam motor, single cam belt motor, 221,000 miles. The head gaskets have already been done once. This job is pretty fucking easy. I haven't done one in probably over a year now, but all you really need to do one is like a 10, a 8, a 10, a 12, a 14, a 17, and a 19, and you can do this job. So, and if you got one of the newer or older models with the EGR, you'll need a 22mm wrench for the EGR pipe. That's about it. And you're gonna need some push pin pliers to take shit like this off. And you'll need a 14mm 12 point. On the older models, this shield right here will usually be a 2-piece, and it'll have two 10mm and a 12mm that goes through the alternator bracket. Actually, take off the air box. This thing pretty much all comes off as one piece. It's more than one piece, but you know what I mean. It's like a giant assembly. There's a couple push pins here that are missing, and then you'll have like a PCV line on either side of the air box. It's got a clamp on it, but you don't gotta undo it. And then on the older ones, I don't believe there is a clamp on it. There's one on either side. This is a newer one. It's a 2012, so it doesn't have that. So we got the one. Let me see. Undo the mass airflow sensor wire. Try not to break it. Sounded like we broke it, but it's not broke. I used to be able to do these in about an hour. Have the heads off and everything, and that's kind of like just going, you know. Not really being in a rush. You can do them in about an hour. It's not that hard. There's two 10mm on the box. There's a stud and nut on the inside of the box, and then a 10mm bolt down here. And you gotta wiggle this thing out of here just to get it out of your way. I like to raise the vehicle up a little bit, give me a little extra room for everything. Actually, I should have drained the coolant before I started this, so right now I'm just going to pause the camera and I'm going to drain the coolant and I'll come back. Okay, so coolant's drained. First thing we're going to do is remove the radiator hose. Then we're going to take the fans out, the electric fans. Then we're going to start working on the belt assembly. So first things first. That thing was stuck, so all I did was grab it with my pliers and turn it, and then it popped it loose. So and this here, we'll take the coolant overflow off, reach down and unplug the fans. They have a tab that you have to pull forward on it and then pull the plug out at the same time. Can't really show it to you, it's kind of down there. But you'll feel the tab, and you don't push it towards the connector, you pull it away from the connector. And then this one down here this one usually breaks. I can't get my hand on it. There's two 10mm of each of the fans on. Pull the fan up and off like that. I am going to end up doing a radiator on this as well. I believe the radiator is what was leaking and caused it to overheat. So I already told the guy that, just waiting on his response. This looks like an original radiator, because this end light here is like melted. So I'll show you how to get the coolant bottle off. So all I do is take a flathead or a little pry bar, stick it right here, and it like just pops on like that and pull it up. So you can see that like pops onto a little plastic fastener right there. And that should give you more room to reach down here and unplug this fan. This fan kind of sucks though, this connector. Yep, it broke. There it is though. There. Also the transmission cooler lines they got like a little plastic thing that they set in on this fan right there, so they slide in there to secure them. Hopefully you can see all this. I'm gonna change sides here. There we go. Take the belt off. I'm an idiot. 15? What the hell? Guess you need a 15 too. These should be 12s, I believe. But probably this 10 millimeter here is actually slotted so you can move this, but because this harness is connected, I'm actually going to take the battery out right now. Ground first. Honestly, this thing should get a new battery too, but what the guy wants to do. This is actually somebody I seen on Facebook Marketplace. He was selling this vehicle. He was selling it because he was quoted $7,000 for a new engine because it was overheating, and they didn't want to do head gaskets on it, I guess. I don't know. Still defended them too, so they were a good place and they had good reviews. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd be defending a place that quoted me $7,000 for a new motor when a new motor installed at cost for this is about $3,500. So if you factor in markup, you know, that's full labor too. That's, you know, figuring $1,000 for labor, full markup and everything. You figure worst case scenario like $5,500. They quoted $7,000. It's fucking outrageous, honestly. Give that time to soak. Ah, shit. thing is gone. You took it. Careful when unplugging these. And then there's a little like fastener that holds that. Try to like secures this harness down. Try not to break it. Now you can start working on the like the actual belt pieces. You know, power steering pump and everything else. Undoing this mount's not going to cause anything to fall over, so don't worry about that. It's just like a wishbone support bracket. Loctite on it. And then there should be one more down there. There it is. I'm actually going to take other stuff off first though. That idler pulley is a 14. This is a 12. The power steering bolts, I'm pretty sure, are all 12 millimeter. The pump bracket bolts, I mean. Try to keep my bolts together. Like I know this one that I took out of here that held that metal wire harness bracket on, I know that goes into the alternator. So I'll put that one back. I'll thread it up a little bit. And then this one here, I know goes in the back, the bottom side of it. So I'll put that one back. Not like I wouldn't know where they went anyways, but okay, now we can see the two more bolts. There's a 12 millimeter here, 12 millimeter down here that holds this power steering bracket assembly on. Take that off and just push it over there off to the side. You don't have to, you know, take the lines off or nothing. I mean, you can, but you just be making a mess for no reason. on that bolt. I don't think there's Loctite on this one. Maybe there is. Let me get my impact. Yeah, there is Loctite on that one. Yep. This is Loctite on all three of those. They're the same size. I just throw them up here on the cowl, take the bracket, the power steering pump, throw it out of the way where the air box is. It's completely out of the way there. Now at this point, start unplugging your crank sensor, oil pressure sensor, coolant temp sensor. Unplug those, then you got your two clips here for the oxygen sensors. Sometimes these are a bitch. What I usually do is I'll stick this under there and then pull on it like that. And then they do secure down here into a harness or onto a metal bracket that is bolted to the head. So I always just undo them because with the exhaust there, you can't really get on them. Oh, that one broke. Okay, well, that'll happen. Now, at this point, we'll take off the AC compressor. These are 14mm bolts. I believe there's 4 of them. Got one in the front, and then one here, one on this side. I think there's one back there in the back. Yeah, there is. That one kind of sucks to get on. I remember that. Yeah, there is. So, what I'm going to use is this thing right here. I should be able to get down there. I need a light. You could at this point skip this bolt and just work on getting the intake off, which I may do because there's a harness that goes right in front of it. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it on for now. You can get the intake off around it and then just take that bolt off later. So. Change my gloves. I'll grab something to drink. 1 second. Okay, so we're about to pull the intake off. You're gonna need to unplug the ignition coils. You got your VVT stuff on the passenger rear of the head, VVT stuff on the driver front of the head. And then you got the bulkhead harness back there. A couple other things, you know, your fuel supply line, your return line, vacuum booster. And then this whole thing just comes off as one piece. And then you've got the Egr pipe back here that goes into the bottom of the intake. You'll have to do that as well. So, you know, just start unplugging everything you see that is going to stay on the intake. The fuel injectors and stuff you can leave there because that whole harness comes out as one piece. So we'll start back here with the bulkhead connector. There we go. And then you got your VVT solenoid, oil pressure switch, and whatever the hell this thing is, another oil pressure switch. You got 3 of them there, 3 of them up here. Cam sensor also. The ignition coils. It kind of sucks. I'll get that one later. do it with your fingers, do it with a little pick. There you go. Careful not to break it. I can't get on that one. Pull the PCV hoses up off of the valve covers, and that should give me enough room. Fucker's on there. Grab a hold of it with a pair of hose pliers, try to turn it and break it free. There we go. Same thing with this side. Kind of wiggle and pull up. There we go. There we go. On this here model, you got one of these connectors also down here on the passenger rear of the head, or driver rear. And then, like I said, we got the EGR we got to undo because it bolts on the back of the cylinder head. You got to take it off of the intake to get it off. And I'm also going to unbolt this lift bracket. That lift bracket has the bulkhead harness connected to it. So undo the body side first. And then undo the two bolts that, one bolt there and then the other one's actually down here behind the throttle body. And then that whole thing will come off with the intake. I'm actually going to undo the throttle body too so I can get to that bolt easier. Come on. Problem is I just clipped my fingernails. Some freaking fingers are all sensitive. Okay, I can get a straight shot back onto that bracket. There we go. how that'll, like I said, the whole thing, the harness and everything will stay together. Now, tackle the fuel lines, which are usually pretty easy on these. Vacuum line off. Fuel return line off. On the fuel supply line, you'll need shit, I just threw it under the car. Got it. You'll need one of these little 3/8 fuel line connectors, or disconnects. This one's plastic, so it's more flexible. I can easier, well, not easier, it's possible for me to get it in there. Compared to a metal one, if you have a metal one, you will not get it in on this car, so don't even try. Use a plastic one. Just for reference, I have a metal one too. You can see this one's a lot shorter, but this one I can do this with. Can't do that with this one. Okay, now reach down for the intake bolts. They're 4 12mm on either side. Actually, I'm going to do that EGR as well. Get a 22. Sure, I'm forgetting something. Try to collect the bolts. Okay, well, just leave those in there then. I guess they don't want to come out, so. Alright. Oh, you got more PCV stuff down to the block there. Ooh, she's going in pretty good. I'm on our coolant lines as well. Let's get it out of the way. Yeah. Yep, there's a PCV line right here, right behind the throttle body. I forgot about that. And then just below that is your there's a coolant line just below that. And then I believe there's a coolant line on the other side as well. Okay, so that coolant line off. Then you got a knock sensor wire as well. Knock sensor. What I'm getting hung up on. Caught on something. Bolts were in the way. Not really, they were just preventing this metal bracket from getting past the AC line here. So I could also take the oil fill spout off. Be good now, I think. Yep, there we go. Take that whole thing off. Something's. Oh. Oxygen sensor connector. Okay, now get the AC compressor off. And honestly, when I get it off, I'm just going to move it right here out of the way. You can drain the AC system, take these lines off and move it out of the way as far as you need to. I'm just going to move it right there. Then you need a 22 millimeter on the crank bolt. If you got a little impact like that, you can almost always get it out. Oops. On my channel, I try to shoot everything in one shot. As least breaks as possible. I try not to leave anything out. Something other people might skip over because they fucked it up or something. I'm not ashamed of that. Everyone makes mistakes when they're working on shit, so. I could probably make this video 10 minutes long and skip all the shit that I struggle through. That's not really helpful, is it? If I were to sit there and say, you know, oh, then you just pull the intake, you'd probably look at yourself like, what the fuck kind of help is that? Just pull the intake. That's not very fucking descriptive. Probably call me an asshole. And I'd be one. So we start pulling the timing cover bolts. Might as well pull the ignition coil too. Ah, hell. What? Going for speed. It's loud, but it's twice as fast. Ah, who's calling me? Hold on. Okay, back at it. These are all 10mm bolts that go around the timing cover. There's like 15 of them or some shit. You gotta take this side off first. There's 3 of them on this side, and these 3 are different than all of these ones. I'll show you. That's what the 3 look like on this driver's side cover. The rest of them look like that. I'm gonna get my other one. There we go. It's way better. Yeah, it's faster. I'm gonna find my deep tab. Put those 3 together. That's it. Yep. Okay. There is this one bolt in the timing cover. It goes right under this idler gear, right by the oxygen sensor. Right there is that one different bolt. That's where that one goes. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn the engine over, time it at top dead center, which we're just fucking past it, damn it. Don't turn the engine counterclockwise, just go clockwise. Should be coming up there. Okay, get a close-up of it. You're gonna have that line right there on the passenger cam will line up with this. This is a cam bracket right there. There's a crease with a cam bracket meets the head. That's where that will line up. Then on your crank, you've got this little dot on the crank pulley, the gear, and then there's right here on the block. And same thing over here. There's this mark right here, and then that one right there. And it looks like this thing is slacked behind a little bit, probably because this belt's worn out. So we're gonna have to put a new belt on this. I'll show you the easiest way to take them off. Well, short of just, you know, taking the tensioner off and taking it off. what I do, I'll put it on the same way. When I take them off, I take this idler gear off first. God, that was way too tight. Take that off, 14 millimeter. Same thing with this. There should be a washer and an O-ring on the back of that. And this tensioner is leaking, so I am going to tell the guy to replace it. Plus I think this is original because that O-ring is hard as a fucking rock and it broke. So I'm going to tell him to get new one of these. It looks like, yeah, this belt's definitely been done before. This isn't an OEM belt. I don't know what it is, but probably a Daco or a Gates kit. I can tell for multiple reasons. One, the oil seal on the cog gear is orange. The OEM ones are green. I don't know, this thing's got like shit coming out of the bearing, like grease has been slung out of it. So I'm gonna take all this stuff off. Tell them to get a full new kit of everything. And I told him I'd send him this video so he'll see it firsthand. Okay, now at this point we can pull the valve covers off. You gotta pull the valve covers off. You may as well at this point pull the camshaft gears off because you're gonna have to do it anyways. And you might as well take like this plastic cover off right here. It's 10 millimeters because it bolts to the block and the head. So if you try to take the head off while I'm doing this, it won't come off. So there's a bunch of small shit you're gonna have to do. There's a 10 millimeter here on the dipstick, bolts to the head, so you got to undo that. So a bunch of little things. I'm just going to start taking stuff off in the vehicle here. Take the ignition coils out. I'll probably recommend him replace the coils too. Replace that one. The cam gears are 17 millimeters. I suppose before I put this away, I should mention there's a difference in the passenger and driver side cam gears. This is the passenger side. The driver side has like a catch for the belt. And one's metal and one's plastic. This is the driver side. You see it's got this the pickup for the cam sensor. This one does not. This is metal, this one's plastic. If you were to get those backwards, it wouldn't start because it wouldn't have a cam sensor from that pickup. I'm going to undo the top bolts of the valve covers real quick. There's 6 bolts on these valve covers. Some of them there's more, like the dual cams and stuff. There's the center bolts. Depends on what year, make, and model you have exactly. Some of them do have more bolts. Put this away. Take the bolts out of the top of the valve covers over here. Okay. Now at this point, we can go underneath the vehicle, start undoing the exhaust. There's a couple of ground straps for the spark plugs here. There's a ground strap here, which is probably about to break. I'll probably just make one. I'll probably just replace both of them, make my own wires. But yeah, now we go underneath. Okay, this is gonna be a little awkward for me to record because I ain't got a tripod. All I use is a little clip that clips on to the, clips onto anything, and then you just kind of secure it there. There is a support bracket for this exhaust back here that connects to the transmission. It's broken, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'll actually just show it. So that's broken. You see it's just sheet metal and it broke. So, but there would be a 14mm bolt here normally. Now, because that's broken, I'm actually going to disconnect the exhaust here, and I'm going to take this whole pipe off. Normally, I would just disconnect it here, or I would just unbolt it from the head and let it kind of hang down a little bit, because it will drop down a little bit on this. But because this is broken, I'm just going to take this whole thing off. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to record it. There's just 3 14mm nuts on this side, 3 on this side. Normally, you'd have a 14 there, then 2 12s and 14s here. So take those off. This whole exhaust will come down. And the only thing additionally I'm going to do to that is take these 3 bolts out of the valve cover on either side and then disconnect the ground straps. That way the heads are ready to come off. Okay, so all I did was take the exhaust off the bottom, undo the ground straps, and undo the valve covers like I said. And just pull the valve covers up and off. The seals with them. Throw these away. You got the tube seals here. These will pull those off if you can. They're pretty stiff. A lot of times I just pry them off. Now you'll just need a 14mm 12 point. I'll show you the setup that I use. This is what I use. I use this long 3/8. Sometimes I use the 1/2 inch breaker bar, but and then I got this snap-on like 1.5 inch extension. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely use my 1/2 inch drive. This one here is about the same length, a little bit longer. Oh man. Put it down to the bottom. You kind of feel around. That bolt was loose. Not loose, but you could tell that bolt was not as tight as the others. And these head gaskets have been done before. Alright. Let me get the drain pan. Position this under the cylinder head, because no matter what you do, it's going to drain. There's going to be some coolant in there. What I do, I take the hardest bolt out first. Get on it. There we go. The extension off for clearance. Now it should stay on the dowel pins. Just be careful. And now at this point you can take the head off. You can see it's got some fluid in it still. That looks like an OEM gasket. I don't see anything obviously wrong with it. Usually you'll see a really shiny spot, kind of like right there and right there. You can see where it's been going like that, and that's a water jacket. And this thing was definitely overheating. It was definitely getting combustion gases. Yeah, I think that was our target right there. You see how solid this one is? The solid black line there still. If you look right there, you see how distorted it looks. Hopefully you can see that. It's really distorted right there. And that's in it. That's a coolant jacket right there. And this was our loose bolt. So I'm pretty certain that that's the culprit right there. So I'll take the other side off and see. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick and before I touch the camera. Okay, now we're on to this side. Now to get this cylinder head off, you need to undo the motor mounts on both sides. A 14mm nut here, and there's one on the other side. If it's an older model, your motor mounts are on the bottom side. These are actually connected to the transmission. I think they started doing this in '09. I'm not entirely sure though. So you got to undo those, and then you got this front motor mount. You got to undo that as well. Need a let's see. Need a 14mm socket and ratchet, or socket and wrench on this one here. And then you'll put a jack underneath the motor to jack it up. Or you could just undo these, I suppose, but I'm gonna undo that one there. be able to jack up on the engine. You don't have to go much. Just enough to get this out of there. Okay, drop it, you know, like I did just there. Get the valve cover gasket off. All your tube seals off. There we go. Oops. Oh hell, you guys can't even see. Whoops. And now, at this point, we can go ahead and start undoing the bolts. I'm pretty sure on this one, I can't remember. It's a lot easier to do the bottom 3 bolts from underneath. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut the camera off. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna lift it up, same technique, you know, same setup. I'm gonna just try to crack those loose and loosen them up on the bottom first. Okay, yeah, would highly recommend you do that. Crack them loose from underneath. I actually couldn't get my 1/2-inch bar in there. I had to use that long 3/8 handle that I had to get this farthest back bolt. It worked, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did break. So if I were you, I would you know, plan on getting a 3/8 drive to fit back there, or if you have some sort of 1/2-inch combination that can fit back there and get that bolt, go right ahead. I had to use my 3/8 though. The 1/2-inch was just too damn big. Let's try this. Try and pull the engine over. Yeah, there we go. Oops. It's a tight fit. There we go. What I'm gonna do is not use my extension first. I'm going to use this. Because once they're cracked loose, they're not tight. So they should pop loose. Yep. Go. Leave that on there. Get your AC compressor out of the way. And now it should be able to come up and off. Actually, fuck, it's not. EGR pipe's still on right there. That EGR pipe goes behind that motor mount, or in front of the motor mount and underneath the coolant crossover pipe. Fuck, I forgot about that. So what we got to do is disconnect this 10mm bolt, pull that out of the way, and then there's 2 10 mils on this black pipe, and then the water pump down there. You got to undo those. That, or get the nut off the back of the cylinder head. That's easier said than done though. That's an absolute bitch. I would not recommend even attempting that. So, whatever. Let's get to it. Remember, it's been over a year since I've done this. Done hundreds of them though. Not this one specifically. I've done hundreds of Subaru head gaskets. And I was worried about that too. Okay, well, we're not going to go that route. So we're going to just take the crossover pipe. 2 bolts here, 2 over here. Bolt there, that up there, and then like I said, you got this one clamp down here on the water pump, and that'll allow you to move this up and out of the way. So I forgot about that. Actually, you know what? No. Yeah, actually, if you unconnect it here, you should be able to flop that over. Break that seal. And there we go. Pull that over out of the way. Pull the crossover out of the way. Now you take the head out. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, I need something to pull that engine over. I know that. Maybe a strap or something. Try. Really need to get that engine over. Son of a bitch. Okay. If I had a ratchet strap, this would work. I don't know if a bungee's gonna work. I really just need to pull it over just a little bit though. That will work. So, you are watching my struggle. Yeah, there we go. Got her. There. There we go. Okay, this head, all the bolts were tight. I don't see anywhere this head gasket was compromised. Not like that other one. Well, looks like we knew where our problem was on the other side. Okay, that's a 2012 Outback 2.5 liter single cam. That's how you remove the heads, more or less. You know, it's been a little while since I've done one, so I kind of forgot some of the most important parts, like undoing the motor mounts and having to lift the engine up for one. Then I forgot the Egr pipe was there. So I figure if you watch this video and you're going to attempt to do this job yourself, you have about all the information you need to get these heads off. And this same general repair applies to damn near, I mean, any Subaru with a 2.5. So there's going to be minor differences in the harness. You know, instead of the plastic intake, you'll have the metal intake, the aluminum one. Those ones are honestly a little easier than these ones. But yeah, I'm gonna release part 2 of this once I get the cylinder heads back from the machine shop. I'll put up a part 2 of reassembly, including torquing the head bolts down, the torque sequence, all that stuff. In the meantime, what I'm not gonna show is me cleaning everything. So all this dirt and debris will get cleaned up, and then obviously the head mating surfaces will get cleaned up, stuff like that. So thanks for watching.